Alrighty, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Deergo207 with you guys, coming at you with another Kaldvann live stream. Hope y'all are doing well. Happy, what's today? Today is Wednesday, June 7th, I believe it is. Yep, Wednesday, June 7th. Just check the work schedule real quick before I get going. Just see what time I'm in tomorrow morning. If I could spell my boss's last name right. June 4th to June 10th. Just want to make sure that I am indeed going to bed at the correct time. Otherwise, bad things will occur. Yep. Slightly annoying. I'm off. So I'm off today, working tomorrow, off Friday. hate it when that gets broken up like that. But anyhow. So we're back here in Kaldvann. I was going to play NASCAR, but it just didn't work up the motivation. I kind of wanted to change my live stream format a little bit again, just so it looked a little better. Kind of taking some inspiration from Squared and RFY. But let me see here. I'm just getting a couple things together. But yeah, so I just decided, I'm like, I'll fire around with this another time. I'm not really in the mood to do that right now, so I'm like, well, I could play some Euro Truck. I'm like, that also involves driving, and I drive all day at work, so I'm not saying I'm sick and tired of driving, but definitely not looking to do it right now, considering I also have to be to work here in about 12 hours. 12 hours I will be on the road, and it's just supposed to be a day tomorrow. Guess it's supposed to pour for most of the day or something along those lines. Now, I can't remember exactly what I streamed the last time, so I'm just going to kind of recap some things here. So, what you're seeing is the A13. The A13's taken a little bit of a new shape. It's still riding the riverfront over here. And this exit is still taking its original form, but everything else has essentially changed, and I'm now talking, so Toby must be awake. Hello, sir. Oh, big green eyes. So happy. He's so happy. Oh, what you gonna do? But instead of going into the tunnel and then creeping out over here alongside, the B43, or I'm sorry, the B6, not the 43. The B6, instead what's happening is the A13 is now just continuing straight on over, well, in this general direction, off towards Nyhavna. Oh, what, Toby? Yes, you've been sleepy all night until I opened my mouth to live stream, and now you're doing the do again. Hold on, I have to pick my cat up. Come here. Oh, hello. So yeah, so it comes over here now, and it takes a very interesting approach through the city. Kind of comes underground a couple of times, and then it goes elevated for a brief moment to kind of pass over this little interchange here for the B43, and then the connector in between the lower road down in Nyhavna and over into I guess one of the main roads is going to be heading out towards Hammeren. I am going to be putting in at least a partial interchange over here. I believe an on and off ramp, at least on this end of town. We'll try to fit another on and off ramp somewhere over there, and then there'll be a larger on and off ramp over here for Rosenborg, as well as the actual Nyhavna area. Yes, hello, Toby. You are a cat. So, but that is the A13 as of right now. And of course, it comes along over here, and once again, kind of goes back to being alongside the cliff. And right now, it kind of bears off towards this general direction. I might extend it out just this way for a little bit. have it kind of come up into the hills and then kind of curve back towards Hammerin. Have a smaller on and off ramp here with the B43, because the 43 is going to kind of come through a smaller community set up right here. There'll be a smaller just town, and the B43 will pass alongside it. And then the B43 will then push off through this little valley, this little gully right here, and it will start pushing off towards the airport via the north coast. Sorry, Toby is wanting all sorts of attention. While the A13 kind of swoops back this way. The A13 will swoop over this way, and then probably in some way, shape, or form share this section with the B6. So another highway improvement project that the A13 and B6 will share. Not sure exactly what will change or how things will look once these two highways kind of share right-of-ways, but I'll figure it out once we get there. This interchange will probably still look the same though. But yeah, so that is that for the moment. And the A113 now, instead of taking its path, I was looking at it and there was no real way to... hold on, Mal said he has done a thing. Let me see what Mal said he has done. Oh. I like that. Sorry, Mal's doing adverts. But this trench here, there was no real way to actually hook up the passenger line with the rest of the system now with how it's set up. So instead, this trench is now occupied by the A113, and it's a little narrow. Not really any shoulder to utilize, which kind of sucks. It's a bit of a crappy design, but I kind of like it. Especially how it kind of jaunts along through the old landscape. So definitely a very congested section of highway, especially if there is an accident, just because there's no way to kind of get the shoulder off or get the cars onto the shoulder just because of the area it passes through. A bit of an afterthought on the city's part, but unfortunately that's just the way it is. Let me see. But yeah, so then the A113 kind of then climbs out of the trench, comes up and over, comes over this this neighborhood here, and what's left of this old rail line. This old rail line has basically been removed. There's very few remnants of it left at this point. I'll probably drag the line kind of back towards... I'll kind of drag it back towards the rail line a little bit, but it's been since removed and uprooted in all the redos and whatnot. So one thing I need to work on here eventually is having some roads that kind of go up into the hills a little bit for some residential that's up here. Not a lot of residential up in the hills, but just kind of some sparser housing that's going to be up that way. Just some of my ideas that I'm throwing around, but I think this is the best fix for this trench, more or less. Because again, the rail line just wouldn't have made sense. So unfortunately, this part of town loses its kind of transportation hub, more or less. But I am probably going to go ahead and just put a bus station over here, like a taxi depot and a bus station, and then I'll kind of help link up the area. maybe a small pedestrian bridge that comes across in between these areas. But the trench is fairly deep. You can easily get all sorts of vehicles through here. Like I said, the only downside is there really isn't any shoulder. That's just kind of by design. The city was very adamant about putting the highway through here, utilizing this old railway trench that has since been abandoned. And because of how close the buildings are together through here, they really didn't have much to work with. I mean, the other option is they could have definitely just bridge between the two, but that would have been a little more than the city and the county was willing to spend. So they made do with what they had. Once we get a little further towards here, they'll probably open up to have some shoulders, but neither here nor there. So one thing that we can do right now, and I'm trying to debate what I want to do, is we could come over here and finish the areas around this neighborhood, kind of getting it filled in, maybe placing some more trees along here and getting the riverfront kind of textured with rocks and cliff sides and stuff, and kind of expanding out this way towards Singsaker. That is one thing we can do. One thing I want to start doing with that is also building some more bridges across the river to kind of help connect other sides of the city, just to keep the city a little more mobile. Trying not to force all the traffic onto just a few roads, because I can imagine that's going to be hell. That is just going to be absolute hell. That is one thing we could start doing. And I would probably throw a bridge here, here, and possibly down here. So have 3 bridges that come across. So that is one thing that we could definitely do. The other options are we could kind of just keep plucking away in the downtown core. Street lights, kind of building the park area, just doing stuff in the downtown core. And of course, alternatively, we could just kind of work out towards this region, building up this more downtown, this kind of urban area, filling out the hillside, and maybe even working on the industrial complex. Alternatively, we could head out other parts of the country and work there. You know, I'm kind of up for anything at this point. I'm just looking to pass maybe an hour or so, or an hour and a half, and start winding down my night. Been fairly bored and kind of uncertain of what to do lately. Feeling a little lonely, I'll admit. You know, still, I hate to use the word, I guess waiting on Emily. Haven't really heard from Lighty either. 2 people that I haven't talked to in a while. You know, Emily said that she still has some healing to do before we go back to full communication, so that does kind of leave that door open, but at the same time, when do I start serving myself? When do I start doing things that are beneficial to me? And when do I start kind of putting my foot down and being like, you know, listen, I've waited long enough. I deserve someone who's going to be there for me when I need them as well. I understand things happened, and, you know, unfortunately we both fell apart. And I'll admit, I said things. I said some pretty hurtful things out of spite. I said things out of hurt. I said those things when they were coming from somewhere else. When Toby, can you keep your hair out of my mouth, please? Thanks. A lot of the things I said were directed at the pain somebody else caused me, and that wasn't fair to you. Unfortunately, and I hate using the word because it seems weird to me, but I was triggered. It caused a lot going on inside me to pop out, and you know, just unfortunately that's what happened. But can't change it. I have to own it. You know, regardless of whether or not I was triggered or not, I own it. I said those things, but I understand wanting to heal. It's been a long process for me, and I don't know how fully healed I feel, because I'm very alone, and I want my friend back at least. I want my adventure buddy again, and I want to be able to go out and do things with someone meaningful. and I can't have that because the person whom I do it with is very hurt right now, and that sucks. But so it's like time will tell. But when do I start doing things for me? And that's kind of the tough part. So just been a very boring time because I don't really have a whole lot to do or anyone to really kind of hang out with here because I have a lot of friends, but they're all online, or I do have friends around here, but unfortunately, oh, look at that. I have a shield. Oh shit. Well, unfortunately, that's no use here. Unfortunately, in terms of my friends here, kind of have to go out to the bar to see them or whatnot, or a lot of the activities involve drinking, and as much as I do love drinking, it is getting expensive, Things are expensive nowadays. And, yeah, it's just money it just doesn't go as far as it used to, so it's like I don't really want to go out as much as I do. Like, I drank a beer today, and I normally hate beers. Like, I'm really not much a beer guy. But it was cheaper than, a mixed drink and stuff like that, so I don't know. It's just trying to find things to do again and trying to find, meaning. But that'll come with due time, and it's just, it's all just crap. But just kind of bored, It's like I go to work and I'm really enjoying my job. Like, it is a lot of, it's very fulfilling work. I'll put it that way. There is a good feeling about, going to help someone, who's having a big problem, and it's stressful when it's your car. I mean, coming from experience, everyone's having a bad time when their car's not working properly, and especially I've had to explain this to some of my European friends, particularly some of my European friends who don't drive. They live in big urban centers. So, Toby, you're a very thirsty cat lately. What's going on, buddy? Save some water. Going through tough times. Just can't be drinking that much in this economy. But, hi, buddy. But yeah, so it's like, it's stressful here to have your car break. Like, that's the nicest way I can put it. It's really, really freaking stressful to have your car break and not be working properly. So when I show up, it's, and I've had a couple of calls already where the person I showed up to was just really, really frustrated, and they were upset. And I wouldn't say they were taking it out on me, but they were definitely just short. They weren't very happy with what was going on. And, like, I know it's not a great excuse, but, like, I understand what they're going through. So it's like, at this point, I'd rather them just let out their frustrations. Like, just let it out. Just let it out. Get it off your mind. Get it off your chest. Just long as you don't make it about me. Long as it's not my problem. Long as you don't start attacking me personally. I'm fine. Go ahead and air your frustrations. Talk about your piece of shit car. Talk about how, slow AAA is, and how bullshit it is, how much they have to pay, and blah, 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 and how, this, that, and the whatnot. Like, I don't care. And hell, that's what they told us in training class was, hey, let them vent, let them just talk. Let them just get that frustration out, like, I had a woman yesterday, and she had just picked up a spare tire from a tire shop, but the tire wasn't, the rim that like the wheel, the metal wheel that the tire sat on was just slightly too big for the wheel hub on her car. And, like, I could get one part of it on, but I couldn't get the others to line up. And it just didn't look good. I don't know if I didn't try hard enough, but I sat there for a while and tried to get it on. But I assessed the situation and looked, and I said, nope, it won't fit. And I felt wrong telling her that, like, you now need a tow truck, because, like, her tire was completely flat, just 100% flat. Like, it was shredded on the sidewall, so there was no way of me just patching it up or setting her on her way because the sidewall was shredded. So, I told her, like, hey, unfortunately, I can't repair that tire for you, and the tire that you have doesn't fit your car. Like, whoever sold you that tire did not do their due diligence and inspect it. Like, they didn't make sure that this tire does indeed fit your car. Oh, and I mean, I don't want to say she was pissed, but I think the poor woman had a panic attack or something, because I told her, like, unfortunately, I'm going to have to tell you that you're now going to need a tow. Like, your car now has to get on the back, has to wait for a flatbed to come get you, because you can't just drive on a flat. So, and it sucked, and I hated doing it, because it didn't make me feel good. You know, that's the only way I can put it. It didn't make me feel good. Because, you know, my goal is to make sure that you can leave, that you can get in your car and drive off once I'm done with whatever it is I'm doing. I don't like, you know, duping people up for a tow. But fortunately, there's nothing else I can do. And like I said, she was just airing her frustrations. She was pissed off, and I mean, she was just unhappy. And I mean, hey, rightfully so. You just bought this tire. Now, I'm not gonna sit there and try to say, well, if I was her, you know, I would have done this. I mean, there are many things that could have been done differently, I'm sure, that probably would have avoided that situation. But not everyone's into cars like I am, or other people. Like, there are people that know more about cars than I do. I'm just starting out. You know, I'm not a mechanically inclined person, but I'm learning as I go. I know just enough to be dangerous. That's about it. I guess that's the saying and stuff like that. But, you know, I know enough to get by, and I know most certainly when my car is not working. And I know enough now through the job to tell me, you know, X, Y, and Z about certain problem. So, you know, given that information and given the set of skills that I now possess, you know, I can hopefully pass some information along to people and help them with their day. But when it comes to certain things like buying stuff for my car, I've been screwed over in the past a little bit. You know, I've definitely been bit a couple of times. Like, I bought aftermarket headlights for the Crown Vic because the ones that I had and the ones that I picked up from a junkyard were severely faded, and my ability to see at night was drastically decreased. So I bought some aftermarket headlights. Well, that's fine and dandy, except for the fact that the little metal brackets on the back, or like the little bolts on the back of the housing that are supposed to kind of click into these brackets, weren't long enough, so the brackets couldn't reach. Or like the brackets didn't have enough. It was just, they didn't fit properly, and one of the headlights was pointing a little too far up, so I was always blinding people going down the road with one of my headlights, whereas the other one was relatively normal. Wasn't on, but it was normal enough. So it just kind of looked bad, and of course, again, you know, I'm driving down the road and blinding people. People think I have my high beams on. I got pulled over once or twice about it, because my cop thought I had my high beams on, and he flashed me, and, you know, I flashed him back, but he still pulled me over. So, 'tis what it is, but definitely annoying. So I understand buying an aftermarket part for your car and it not quite fitting as properly as you thought it was going to. So I understand that woman's frustrations, because I was definitely pissed off. Like, you know, this is kind of BS. I bought this part and it should fit my, like, it's made for my car, and this is how all the other Crown Vics are supposed to be. So the fact that it doesn't fit is kind of BS. But maybe I didn't do my homework well enough, or whatever. But, you know, point being is I get it. I do. And I felt bad, you know, leaving, because, you know, her whole day is ruined. Because now she's got to get her car on the back of a tow truck and, you know, figure shit out. Again, that's never fun. That's never a fun feeling. I've been there, done that 1,000 times. So I totally get it. She definitely wanted me to maybe try and see if I could get it on. I told her, you know, hey, I've tried. I've tried a couple different things here. Like I'm telling you, the tire just won't line up. You know, and it's a pretty straightforward thing. Like once I get one part of the tire, like the one part of the wheel onto the onto the car, it's like it's pretty easy to line up the other. I'm forgetting technical terms, but it's pretty easy to line the tire up to be mounted onto the car. If it's not lining up, then there's a big problem. So that's a pretty weird bump. Hey, that's a pretty horrendous bump, actually. I do say so myself. Already yawning, huh? But yeah, it sucked, because, like I said, it doesn't make me feel good. Or here's the other one, you know, lady calls me up, or I call a lady up that has a bad battery in a car, or, you know, car won't start, and driving along, the member calls back and says, hey, they said on the phone, you can replace battery. I want a battery before I even show up. It's a 30-minute drive out to where I was going to be, and I'm like, alright, so it's 30 minutes there from where I'm at. It's probably going to be about 35, 40 just to go back to the shop, so let me see what battery could go in this car, and I'll at least grab one of them, you know, based off of what model we're thinking this car is, which it should be, you know, and I'll grab that battery, and I'll at least head down and install it. So that way I can just kill it. She already told me she wants a battery, so I just need to know a couple things about the car. And, you know, and the shop was only like a few minutes out of my way, so I'm like, it's only going to add a couple extra minutes, like it's no big deal, but it's going to be a lot longer for me to come back, you know, just whatever it was, but it was going to take a while to come back from where I was heading. And I was just trying to save some time, just be like, alright, I'm already over here, I might as well just grab it. She already told me she wants the battery. And if, like, we don't make the sale, then just bring the battery back, because I gotta come back to the shop anyways at some point today. I'll just bring the battery back. So I went down to the shop, and I checked to see, you know, oh, the music stopped. Why is the music stopped? No, don't stop, keep going. You know, and I went to the shop and looked around, and I'm like, we don't have this battery in stock. It's not good. It's not good. So called her up and like, we don't have either battery. Like we don't have that. So you know, now it's, you know, not making us look terribly great, but it's like, you know, we're at the mercy of the supplier. So unfortunately, we can only do what we can do. So it is what it is. So I just told her, like, you know, hey, listen, like, I can come out and at least get you jump started, you know, and from there you can, and I hate doing it because, again, it doesn't make me feel good telling the member I can't do what you have requested. I can't fulfill your request, but I can at least get you going so that way you can go out and, you know, and shop around. And something I learned from my trainer is that he never pushed the sale, because most time people already know if they want a battery or not. Like, they already just know. Okay, oh yeah, I'm going to want a battery. Like, they just know. It's just something they've already made up their mind about, and there's not... I mean, there are things you can do to convince them otherwise, but most of the time it's like, no, they already know what they want. It's usually the case. And it's something that most members will discuss over the phone, too, is like, you know, can you sell you know, do you have batteries on board? Yeah, I got batteries. But it sucks sometimes being like, oh no, I can't do that for you. because we don't have that battery with us right now. We don't have it at the shop. So, but something I learned from my trainer is he always kind of used the verbiage like, I do carry the batteries in the truck, but, I encourage you to shop around, maybe find a better deal if you'd like, and most people are going to do the ease of convenience. The others are the guys who are like, the penny pinchers who, I can find a better deal. Like I had a guy yesterday, a friend of the member who had called for the battery replacement, and he goes, how overpriced do you think your batteries are in comparison? Because he had asked how much, or they'd asked how much the batteries were. I said $199.33. Which, I mean, yeah, $200 for a battery, it's not great, but it's not bad either. It's actually pretty run-of-the-mill. And for the battery you get, it's really not that bad. It is just an interstate battery. But point being is like, he flat out asked me, how overpriced do you think your batteries are? And it's like, it's a little weird question. But I was transparent with him. I'm like, I don't think they're that much overpriced. I don't believe we are terribly overpriced at all. I said for the quality of the battery we get, because we meet the manufacturer's specifications for a battery and then exceed them. We go, each car that we install a battery for, we exceed the minimum required specifications for it. Which is also a selling point. Like, you're getting a better battery for your car, technically. Like, if you really want to get down to it, you're getting a better battery for your car. And hey, maybe I drank the Kool-Aid and I'm just spitting out BS here, but it's something I can stand behind, and unfortunately I am a bit of a salesman, even though I don't really like being a salesman. I'm not really a salesy kind of person, but that's part of my job now is kind of being a salesperson, because that's how I kind of get paid too, is selling batteries. So, but it's a very strange question to be asked, for someone to go, well, how overpriced do you think your batteries are? It's like, honestly, not that bad, because I bought a Die Hard back in December for the Crown Vic, and if I'd known I was going to sell it, but, I mean, that battery was old. It was really old, because I think I got 8 years out of it, and that's not great. I mean, that's phenomenal, don't get me wrong. I got 8 years out of a battery. Most batteries last 3 to 5 years, but it's really not good either. It's like not changing your oil for a long time. Sure, you got more mileage than they said you were going to get, but it's also not great. But anyhow, but yeah, it's just a strange question. But work's been very fulfilling. But it's like I'll work all day, and then I come home, and then there's just this sense of like, I'm excited to leave work. I'm excited to go home and not be at work, because that's the whole point of going to work, is to go home, and then you go home to relax and recoup, and then you go back to work. But it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like there's anything to do. And it's tough, because before I reconnected with MLA, Kayla was still around, so I'd often go on adventures with Kayla, or, I had the Rooster. I'd always be going out and interacting with the Rooster people, and, going on our nightly park crawls and stuff like that, and most often, like, my nights were kind of taken care of, too. Like, people, I don't know if they, here's a mystery to me, okay? And I don't understand this, because I don't personally get it, because I'm not trying to shit on myself or put myself down, but I'm not a very exciting person. Really, I'm not. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not a very exciting person. I don't really do a whole lot. I don't like to party and stuff like that. I don't like a lot, like, loud music. Like, I don't like being out in, like, clubs and stuff like that. Like, trust me, I like loud music. I like my metal. But I don't like going to clubs. Like, my sister has always kind of called me an old man. But it's like, whenever I go out with the Rooster Crew, they'd always pay for me, or like they'd always at least buy me my drinks, or like most of the time anyways, like my drinks would be taken care of, or like someone from the rooster would take me out and then like my drinks would be bought, or like even now it's like I'll go out to a bar around the corner or in town and I'll run into some regulars from the roosters and they're buying me shots and paying for my drinks. Like I think it was 2 weeks ago I had 5 or 6 drinks and 4 shots, and I only paid for one. I paid for a drink. It was the drink when I bought when I walked in. Again, I'm not saying this is a great lifestyle to live or anything, you know, being like, oh yeah, I get drunk and I don't have to pay for it. Like, yeah, it's interesting, but it's like, I joked with my sister. I'm like, I know what it's like I know what it feels like to be a pretty girl now, you know, to have all your drinks bought for you and stuff. Like, the feeling of being this, you know, like really attractive girl. I'm like, I understand the feeling now, but I don't know. It's weird to me that it happens all the time, and you know, I don't know. I don't know. Like, and it kept happening so often, so free, you know, so much recently that like there was a time that I went out. I think it was like last Saturday or whatever, whenever I went out last, and there was some regulars from the rooster, and you know, we chatted, you know, sat for a little while. They ended up leaving, and the bartender at the bar I was at kind of joked. She's like, "Huh, they didn't buy for you this time. That's kind of weird. What changed?" I go, you know, beyond me, couldn't care less. But it's very strange. But you know, I don't have the rooster. I'm not at the rooster every night, you know, and that's one of the big differences, you know, in how I interact with people now. And it's like, you know, maybe it is better that I am out of there so often and doing something else. That way when I do see them, it doesn't, you know, it's not old. It doesn't get old. But it is also like, you know, I can't just, I don't know how to put it. It's such a weird conversation to have, because I can go down anytime I want, but I hate to say it, but like, you know, I used to go in there for work, and obviously my meal shifts were covered, and it was just like, it was just one big social hour, which is weird for me to kind of be missing, because by nature I've always been an introvert. Always have been an introvert. I have always lived a very introverted lifestyle, and I'm kind of back to that. And you know, now that there's no rooster and there's no MLA and there's no going up to Freeport and sitting at the coffee shop, and there's no exploring Brunswick and whatnot, or going to catch movies, and it's just kind of like, you know, now that there's nothing, it's strange for me. I don't know. It's very weird. So I think Joe had sent us some Patreonisms, the moderators. Yes, he did. I believe it's more brownstones. Let's download them and see what we got. I know one thing we're getting is more brownstones, which doesn't particularly fit the theme of what we're building here, but I do at least want to see them, because that might come in handy with Montreal Northern, the Montreal North Coast. Alright, I'll let those install for a little bit. Alright, what should go on the corner here? Like, I'm thinking, there's already a gas station over there. Maybe like a smaller gas station, maybe. I'd kind of like a restaurant, like, you know, it's the major intersection, because it's gonna be the old, you know, it's the old A13 right away. But this is, I guess, kind of a newer area, because in the lore, you know, the highway would have, I don't know when the highway would have been removed, but the highway would have been removed fairly recently, in the last few years. So they definitely would have built buildings here, you know, these buildings are fairly new. Like, even the houses are going to be fairly new and such. Like, even it would probably be that house would be got or fairly new at this point, so let me see here. I find it funny that Joe's site is like the graveyard for legacy content at this point. But yeah, so this area is actually fairly new within the last few years, so at least the building that's going to go here is going to be on the newer side. Just trying to think, like, you know, what would fit here, and I'm trying to think, like, assets off the top of my head, and I can't particularly think of anything. Like, this is just way too big, and it does not fit at all. So we'll have to figure something out. Oh, stop yawning. Or keep yawning, see if I care. I actually do, way deep down. Deep down, I secretly do care. Just don't tell anyone that I care. Actually, there was something that Joe had made that let me see, just scroll. I don't think these work, do they? No. Damn. Wonder if I could get someone to get these to actually work. Because it'd be kind of nice. I like traffic lights like these. Like even this single mast. That'd be really nice. And I mean, like, in theory, I can just throw it up. You know, I could just put it up to have it be there. Like, it wouldn't kill anything, but also on the same point, it's like, it doesn't work. I don't want it. Doesn't work, don't want it. I like my ATLS signals. I thought my phone was vibrating for a second. I'm like, oh, it's a weird vibration, but nope, that's just my headset. Yeah, maybe that doesn't work so well. Probably tighter streets and stuff like that, but point being, like, it would be nice if those worked. But, alas, that takes scripting and work and just blech, so... Here's a bus. Very nice. I do like the bus. Very riveting content, I am very sure for you guys, but again, I'm trying to think, like, what do I want over here? Because like a lot of the buildings that I have, I don't think are gonna fit the bill. And I'm trying to think like, there's two gas stations. Let me see. Like I already know there's one over there, but you know, having another one wouldn't be a bad idea. Also loving, I don't know why I love the Ultramar. Sure, we'll do an Ultramar. Is what it is. We're just gonna do one of these and call it an afternoon. Just sits on the corner. Here we will move this back over here. And we'll probably lower that. It's a very tall sign. There. That's actually a little more reasonable. Now, in theory, we probably could put another one, but they will probably just have the one. I mean, both are... I wouldn't really call this a side street because it links you all the way up over. It does lead to more of a residential kind of waterfront area, more of a recreational area. Whereas I do suppose this is kind of more of the main road coming through area. It's tough to say. Actually, one thing I could do, hold on a sec. I wonder if I... Oh, that's one way to get away with that. Yeah, I like that. It's one interesting way of doing it. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Just because unfortunately in Kaldvann there are signage laws. Or zoning laws anyways. Over there that's a different story, but that's America over there. We don't talk about it. Now, this area in particular, do we want a traffic light or just a basic stop sign? And unfortunately, I think survey is going to say traffic light. So let's go ATLS. Yeah, I don't really need a re-repeater. Oh, shiny. Oh, it's a whole... Okay, never mind. We're just gonna not add a base. And we will put a Sensa. Is there a tram? Oh my god, there's a tram signal. Oh wow. Interesting. Huh. Gives me an idea. Just probably gives an opportunity to make a protected left turn, if need be. Unless you cut through the back streets over here, which, nightmare. Your best bet's to be going up here to make your protected left turn down onto the road over there. So, and that's a pretty busy thoroughfare, so... So it'd probably be worth to do that. As far as cars coming this way and then going left, I don't know. I think it's probably only worth it just to have the one. Oh, and then turn this traffic light to actually face the correct way. Beautiful. Traffic light. Shiny. Alright, so the other side of the intersection, what will go over here? So, this is probably still Marienburg at this point. I mean, this could be another neighborhood. This probably was another neighborhood at one point. Nothing huge, but it probably is another neighborhood. What are you? You are a garage of some kind. Let's just look at the other side. Oh yeah, McRae truck repair. Probably don't need this big... We'll set that off to the side somewhere. There's allegedly 4 people watching. Not really the theme we're looking for. So hard to find the right building. Like those EMT buildings are nice. So actually, let's try and see if we can't get a building from him. Probably should go over here somewhere. Here, have a building. Congratulations. And now we're back to square one. Yeah, it's kind of a very uninspiring looking building. We have boats. That's a nice boat. Also a nice boat. Yep, that's a boat. Yes, boat. Ah, boat. That's a tiny ass church, holy hell. Ooh, yeah, skyscraper. This would be a chance to put in a modern-ish build. That doesn't really fit. If only I had something like that, but not. Like that size, but not that building. I mean, that is nice. It's more New York, though. This... There we go. I mean, that is just generic enough to be whatever the hell it wants to be. And if I had some, like, signs I could throw on it. Because again, these are all newer buildings and such, so there'd be a lot of kind of newer infrastructure right here in particular. See, I could see something like this, like a little office building of some kind. Kind of going up on this corner. Yeah, that could work. It's just out of place. And I guess that's kind of the goal, because again, this was a highway. This was a whole highway with an off-ramp and interchange here that's now not. Like, that's a big reason why this big avenue looks a little out of place here, because this intersection is vastly different from how it used to be. Ugh. How is it already midnight? Go away. Go away. Mm. I definitely used this building a couple of times. Try shop. Let's see. Looks like I want just commerce on the crossroads here. It is definitely gonna be bedtime here fairly quickly, because my God, I am struggling. We are struggling to stay awake here. I feel like did I use that nearby? Oh, I did. Boo. Boo. Ooh, that is painful to look at. That is definitely some old train stuff there. Yeah, a little out of place. And then people ask me why it takes so long to get stuff done. Does this fit onto the side of the building, or? That fits. Actually fits right pretty well in there. Maybe a little out of place, but I suppose if we maybe added like a couple more. Try something. Shop, front, download station. Oh, there's more. Of course, I don't have a first class ticket, but you know, hey. It's actually downloading pretty quick, darn. I mean, like, darn, but like, it's coming through pretty quick. It's downloading way too quick, darn. Let me see, shop front. We'll leave that for now, but let's well said. I'm sorry. Oh, why is it so hard? Like, it shouldn't be this hard. Let's probably get rid of that building. And like, these buildings aren't bad, but they don't fit. Or they do, but they don't fit like what I want for this area. Erg, what am I gonna put here? Let me see, do I have like a Tesco or something like that? It doesn't make sense because there's already grocery stores over there. Do we have a bank I could put there? I think a bank would make sense. Actually, a bank would make perfect sense. Let me see. Glad I thought of that. Let's see. I think AM had a bank. Let me go find it. It should be over here. What was it? SAP Bank. Something's dag lagging. A credit union. It's actually a bank around here called Infinity Credit Union. And the commercial would always go, at Infinity Credit Union. It's like, we didn't screen the commercial, did we, before we sent that out? Did we there, Big Shoots? Probably not. Are we still downloading stuff? We are almost done downloading stuff. That's also one of my finer parking lots, and I'm quite happy with that. Alright, let's go back over here. So I'm just trying to think, like, what would go here. I'm thinking a bank would be pretty good. Especially this one. Although I don't particularly like that asset, but let's go, let me go back, because this one was modular, this one's all stuck together. No, it's still the same. Could have swore there was a sign out here, though. Huh. I guess not. Wrong intersection. So this one will be a little closer to the road. But like they have the drive-through over here, and I think this actually works pretty well here on the corner. That's something I don't know if we have a lot of in Kaldvann. I've tried to set up like banks around town, or make sure like there's a bank-looking structure. We don't actually have like physical banks in the city, as far as I'm aware. Well, then again, good luck trying to find the asset. They do exist, they're just really hard to come beyond or come between. So there'll probably be like a small parking lot around back here, and Alta 1 Federal Credit Union. Would you like the name? That's my sister's name, Alta. Or, well, was Mariah, but she has since changed her name to actually her namesake. Her great-grandmother? I think it's great-grandmother, Alta Mariah. Which, I don't want to sit there and say my mom is not happy about that, but it's, you know, she's... I also don't want to sit there and say she's been unsupportive, but it's been weird for my mom, I guess. Or she's kind of made, like, it a little weird, or so on and so forth, which is like, it's not meant to be weird, Mom. Like, also Rai's allowed to do whatever she wants. Like, she's an adult. If she wants to change her name because she doesn't like the one that she was given, then she can. And like, it still makes sense. Like, I think her name is just Alta Mariah. Like, she's just her great grandmother, which I think is more of an honor, and it's more paying homage to where her name came from. But that's just me. You know, it'd be a little weird if she changed her name to like Sapphire for just no reason whatsoever. You know, I mean, there are moments where it's like, ooh, you know, I've still accidentally called her Mariah, and she doesn't take huge offense to it. I mean, she's grown used to it, which I hate for her, because this is her identity and stuff like that. She's always preferred to go by, well, not always, but in more recent times, she's more preferred to go by Alta, which, again, hey, if that's her thing, then support her till the cows come home. But, you know, she definitely was more okay with me still continuing to call her Rai, because I've always called her that. You know, it's just, I'm just what I called her. But I found it funny, or I found something funny, and I did kind of poke a little fun at her about it, because growing up, I was always B. My dad called me B, my mom calls me B. It's just, I don't know why, it's just what they called me. My last name's Boudreaux, starts with B, so they just called me B. I was Dad's little B. Which, it's funny, because it kind of sounds like they're calling me a bitch, but, you know, but point being is, you know, I was B growing up. My mom still calls me B, my dad still calls me B. But my sister always called her Rai. Mom called her Rai. Dad, I think, I don't know what he called her, because he was never around. And their relationship's been very skewed for a long time. Point being, so my parents have always called me B. Well, now my sister's called Alta, so I call her A, because, well, I'm B. So, you know, something I found amusing in my own little world. You know, something that I kind of poked fun at her for, like, you know, oh, it's funny, you know, just to, it was just something funny, you know, just, I don't know, I found it amusing, but also something I found, oh, I've seen a full map of the Kaldvann, looks nice. Well, I mean, there is a map, which I could maybe throw up on screen here, but the full map is pretty large if it's all loaded, which it's not, because screw me, I guess. But it's fairly large. It's pretty chonky, and I still have to fill in this area, or well, this area, and get the coast all figured out. But it's fairly large. But we're working in just this one small little area over here. Trying to get other parts of the city tied together for a change, because heaven forbid I actually finish something. But anyhow, so I don't even know what the hell I was talking about at this point. Sure, A, B. Yeah, no, it's a big map. But another nickname that I found, I kind of, me and my sister poke fun at each other all the time, whether it be our mental health and stuff like that. We definitely do poke fun at each other now, a lot more in more of a loving way than when we were kids. We definitely were at each other's throats. But something that I also found funny was another nickname that I gave her was, you know, Jay is just a shortened version of Jaden. Rye is a shortened version of Mariah. Well, Alta, a shortened version, you can't really shorten that up much more. It's only 4 letters, but a shortened version of Alta is Alt, which I kind of poked at her. I said, you know, it's funny, because, you know, it's her alternate name now. I said, your new nickname's just going to be Alt, for alternate. She told me, she's like, fuck off. I'm like, I mean, hey, if there's a shoe fits, you know, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, you know, if it all fits together, you know. I'm actually going to do this real quick. We're going to shorten this street up. We're going to make it not so wide. Because this is a little, maybe cul-de-sac or something like that. That just came off of the... The thing is that this was the old highway. This was the old A13. Which, you know, you can still see some of the scars of the A13 as it kind of swooped along. Which are slowly being erased and would have been erased, or attempted to be erased in the last 5 years. But the highway came down through here, along the riverfront, and went around. Well, now it goes that way. Excuse me. So this, you know, it would have been a highway here and a on and off ramp for the Marienburg area and whatever this district so happens to be named. But you know, like this was not a frontage road, but this was just a street that abutted up against the highway because there was room and they put houses there. Same thing on the other side. There was room up against the highway, so they put houses there. Because the highway, I think the off-ramp would have been about here-ish, maybe? So maybe now there's like a small park on the corner because the road probably would have originally jaunted over to meet up with the main road, but still, you know, like this is just the remnants of the old area. You know, I want to come down here and, you know, just dead-ended. And there'll probably be like a little trail that comes down here, and maybe like a little. I might flatten this out just a little more and put like a little sandy area along the river. Maybe some rocks out there that people swim in. You know, make a little recreation area at the end of this street. You know, yeah, it was alongside the highway, and you know, maybe there would be like an old wall that's kind of keeping the sound from the highway from the little recreation area, and there's trees all along it and whatnot, but you know, the old remnants of the highway. But it's a narrower street, a lot of driveways for the homes and such, but thank you. Definitely trying to, like, you know, even though I deleted it and I'm still building the city, trying to make it, you know, like, yeah, the highway was here, but in the last, let's just say 20 years, there was legislation to try to get the highway removed and give the riverfront back to the people, because way back when, before the highway, there was a road here with buildings that, you know, there was a riverfront, a working riverfront, with boats that went up and down it, and trade and commerce, and just stuff that went on down here. And over time, during kind of like the country's depression and economic downturns, that kind of riverfront area would have become kind of run down. And eventually, when the highway project went through and they were looking to kind of bring it through the city, the government bought out a lot of the old buildings that were vacant and crime-ridden, where a lot of crime, I guess, dens were inhabiting at, and demolish them to make way for something better, a highway. Well, that's fine and dandy, except for the fact that, you know, the city lost its working riverfront, and it lost its ability to use that riverfront in some capacity beyond a highway. So, with all the backlash the town received, and over time, they. Hello. Patreon. What does Patreon want? Never mind. Patreon did not go off. Anyways. But, it's in the last, let's just say back in 2012, they started the new highway project, more or less, to expand the highway out, which would have included the A113, over there. So there was multiple projects going on at once, which took a little while to get completed, but once it was completed and was able to bypass around the city, and the new section of the A113 was able to go through its kind of alignment, they finally demolished this section of the highway, and which took a little while to get it all demolished and get the land ready for other use. This being the other use. But let's see, how long we've been going for? An hour and a half. So we're probably gonna wrap it up here, and I hate it because I haven't done anything. I've done this. It's just so dumb it takes that long to do something. It's a very narrow street, though. You can get a bus down it, though. It's just not very wide. Very, very narrow. But yeah, I do have to be considering going to bed here very quickly, because work is a-coming. I gotta go to work in the morning, so. Adulthood, man. Sucks. Because, well, of course, I'm getting tired too, but, because I woke up at, what, 9 o'clock today? I don't know. I forget what time I woke up at. And like I said, the thing is, just get through work tomorrow, and then I'm have another day off, so. Which isn't bad. I mean, the other nice thing about my work is that, I wouldn't say we don't work a ton, but, the most days that you'll more often work in a row seems to be 3. You work 3 days in a row, and then you'll have 2 days off. And you work up, 3 days, and you'll have 2 days off. So, days off are, always right there. Your days off are always around the corner. Yeah, it's not great, but, yeah, I have today off, and then. Or I have today off, work tomorrow, and then I got Friday off, and then. When are my next days off, anyways? That I don't know. Let me see here. Jenny. 11th to the whenever. So I'm working Monday. So yeah, I work Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Then I'm off Tuesday, Wednesday. Wait. Yes. And then I'm working Thursday, Friday. Then I'm off Saturday, Sunday. So like, work 3, off 2, work 2, off 2. So like, it's pretty decent work. There's always downtime, which I appreciate. I do enjoy the flexibility and the ability to always have a day off coming up fairly quickly. I worked a factory job very briefly, and like, it was good work. I didn't mind it. It definitely wasn't my speed of work, but it was work. But it that kind of lifestyle just didn't fit me. Like, everyone took a break at the same time. Everyone had lunch at the same time. Everyone, on that shift got in at the same time. Everyone left at the same time. It's like, I didn't really care for that, personally. That was not my speed. Like, I didn't really care for that kind of lifestyle. And I'm sure I could have made a decent career out of it, and, if I decided to stick around, but I chose not to, because I'm like, again, it just, to me, I have a chirpy cat. Where'd he go? Oh, he's chirping down there. What are you chirping about? Oh, hello, sir. He's chirping. He's just rolling around on the floor. Somebody wants attention. Get up here. Oh, this is not what you wanted at all, huh? Nope. Nope, he's already looking to get out. He's already looking to run away. Run away. Like, the flexibility and the... I've been working on a parking lot for like 2 days now. I feel the time thing. Maybe more. Yeah, that's really nice. Hold on a second. I'm just trying to see... Like, it feels like this is off somehow. Like, it's narrow on one side than it is on the other. Oh, hello, Toby. But yeah, no, like, the time off that we get is really great, because the factory thing just, it didn't suit me. Like, even at the airlines, Southwest was a little different, because the flights all seem to come in around the same time. But you'd have like a gate or two that would have a flight on the ground at odd times. So yeah, like, most of you would be on break around the same time, which was nice, but for the most part, everything was pretty much up in the air. But, the nice thing at AAA is that I'm on my own. I'm completely alone in the truck. It's nice. It's nice to kind of be on my own, doing my own thing. There's no one around. I am being watched, though. We have the cameras in the truck. So I'm being watched, but like, there's no boss I report to. There's no manager. No. Again, technically speaking, yes, I do, but in the course of my day, there's no one that I immediately report to while I'm working, on the site and stuff like that. I'm on the go. People need to get a hold of me, they gotta call me. Hey, Topes. I know, it's bedtime. You want to go to bed. But it's decent work, but the factory lifestyle, it just, it did not suit me at all. And then there was the security guard stuff, like, yeah, I was alone, but I was stuck. Stuck all day in the security shack, and like, it just felt like there was no ability to grow. And like, the training was horrible. The training was absolutely horrible. The 20-minute, here's the facility, don't light it on fire, right, good luck. the old, like, here you go, here's your gun, your badge, get out there, make a difference. I didn't get a gun. I'm just, making a joke, but it's like, that's kind of what it felt like, it was just sit you down. There was no orientation. It was here's the facility, here's the job, here's the codes for the alarm, here's the cameras, you watch them. If someone says fuck you, just say when, where, and how. Be the doormat for everyone to walk over, and suck as much dick as possible. Basically, to get pretty graphic with you for like a brief second, but that was security, and it was probably the worst. And then it just, the timing wasn't great because I went into it in a great mindset, and then as the minute I kind of started that job, everything fell apart in my relationship. So it just was horrible for me personally, just to be there with all the problems I was going through and all the issues I was having, and being really alone, and having very little people to talk to. Like, I would see my coworker once or twice, and yeah. I guess you do have to head off there, buddy. You're struggling with some of your words, but hope you have a good night. Yeah, I'm probably going to be heading off here because it's getting late and I got to be up here in a little while to take a shower and get ready for work, and get there relatively early to inspect the truck before I go out. And if there's any complaints from my previous day's work, then, sort through them. I really don't think I have had any complaints. I hope I haven't had any complaints, even from just my boss in general. And if I do, hopefully, they're nice about it, because one thing I am fearful of, it's not getting complaints, because, if I'm doing something wrong, like, hey, tell me, because I want to correct it. But the thing is that, how will my boss go about telling me I did something wrong? Because last job I had, they just sat there and let all my complaints stack up until they had a whole litany of things to talk to me about, allegedly, and then, sat me down, told me I was fucking up. There's these allegations about, I'm doing this incorrectly, and, I'm doing that incorrectly, and I'm yelling at customers, and it's like, I'm just out there screaming at everyone, and it's like, excuse me? And there was one isolated incident that I did raise my voice, but getting screamed at in my face, I'm gonna raise my voice at some point. But they're like, well, no, the account manager says you're screaming at everyone. Every time she calls, you're always yelling. It's like, really? That's news to me, because, I'm a very animated person on the phone, but I don't normally yell. I'm a little deaf, too, so, there's that. I'm a little hard of hearing. This is also probably what Kaldvann would look like at night about this time of year, because close to the Arctic Circle. Kind of be in this, like, we're close enough to it, but this would pretty much be essentially what Kaldvann looks like this time of year. Just a big old purple hue. But this is like, probably 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. maybe it would look like this. Sunset really wouldn't be until about like 10:30, just because how close it is to the Arctic Circle. So, but anyways, but yeah, that's just one thing I am fearful about, is like, if I am doing something wrong, or like whatever, how are they going to go about telling me? Because I just don't want to sit there and have all these problems and then be told, like, oh yeah, you did this wrong, or you're doing all this wrong. We have 10 complaints. We're not going to tell you a single one of them. And uh, we only just found out about them, and it's like, really. It just, yeah, the security job was just a nightmare. Like, it's one of the very few interviews that I've ever gone to where I felt genuinely uncomfortable. Um, and I don't know exactly what in particular made me uncomfortable, but, you know, just, yeah, it was one of the very few interviews that I've ever gone to in my life that the interviewer made me feel really uncomfortable and very, I don't want to say unwelcome, but that's kind of the word I'm looking for, is just very unwelcomed. I did not feel very welcome to that interview at all. And like, I don't know, it was just very strange. I'm glad that chapter of my life is closed. I'm glad I'm gone from that job. I'm glad that job didn't work out, because it just sucked. I thought I was giving my all every day, but guess not. And at least now where I'm here and I'm giving my all, and I'm actually seeing a difference every day. And I'm able to drive away and feel good, and feel like, oh, I actually did something. I actually did something productive. I did something that actually helped somebody else and whatnot. So, it actually made a difference. I was able to take someone's bad moment and turn it around for them, so that way they're able to, not be stressing out so much. Solve their problem. Or at least point them in the right direction to help them solve their problem. And it's nice, I already like making people feel better anyways. I don't like people being down or sad or whatnot, and so it's just better all around. But anyways, I'm just flying around now at this point and just shaking my head at that last job. And, we're just going to look at this nice little intersection I built and just be like, wow, look at it. It's an intersection. Ugh, I need to find how to get faster at this. Faster at route building and scene making and something, because, ugh. But still another nice angle of the city from down here. Of course, it'll probably get filled in by trees, so a little harder to see, but you just get up like a floor or two and you get a nice view. Even that hotel, that brand new structure over there, rather nice. Anyways, guys, I'm out of here. I'm off to bed. I will talk with you all probably tomorrow. I need to get on either tomorrow or Friday and do a NASCAR live stream. Do my NASCAR Racing 2003 season, or 2003, whatever you want to call it. My Craftsman Truck Series career. Just get that figured out. Get another race in my belt, because I think the next race we're doing is, let me see here if I can actually scroll down. Ba-ding. Let me see. Off to Homestead, Miami for the Florida Dodge Dealers 200, I think it is. But yeah, so we're off to Homestead, Miami for the next race. We already simulated the Busch Grand National race for Ricky Craven in his first race for Cami Racing. So yeah, we'll talk about that. I'll probably hopefully do that tomorrow or Friday, and gotta get into Carabas and do some building there. But Anyways, guys, thank you for watching tonight, and I will catch you in the next one. Take it easy.